Okay, good Vach everybody. So this week I'm gonna be saying a story a little bit from inside because I don't have it so clear. It's the end of Pesach, so we should all have the experience of freedom that we have from Pesach. It should go into the rest of the year and it should accompany us through everything that we do. Okay, so this story is a story about the Ba'al Shem Tov and how much he loved the simple Yidden, right? You have people who they're very learned and they know a lot of Torah and they're very righteous and they're very, holy people. And even though, of course, their avodah, their service of God is very precious, but Ba'al Shem Tov valued and revealed how valuable the service of the simple people are when they serve Hashem with sincerity. He really, really brought them close. And he also had Talmidim who were his close Talmidim, his students, his followers. They were also tzaddikim. They were great tzaddikim. And they didn't understand why the Ba'al Shem Tov was so, obsessed with these simple Jews. They didn't see it. They didn't see what was going on. And so much so that sometimes the Ba'al Shem Tov would even send them to learn from these simple people. To learn from them sincerity, to have trust in Hashem, to have emunah, and to love to love a fellow Jew. And it still was very hard for them. Now, one time something happened in the summer. It was a summer Shabbos, and something happened, and all of his Talmidim, they were very much affected by this. What happened? One Shabbos, there were many, many guests, and amongst the guests were also simple people, simple Yidden. People who were workers, people who had farms, who raised animals, people who, would peddle, their wares. And that night, that Shabbos, that Friday night, the Ba'al Shem Tov showed them an extra, closeness. He gave somebody shirayim from his wine, and then another person he actually gave the cup that he made kiddush to drink from, and to another person he gave a piece of challah that he made a bracha on, and to other people he even gave fish or meat from his own plate, and many other different signs of closeness, ways of showing love to these simple people that really, really made his close Talmidim really curious, what's going on. Now, the way it worked was that by the night meal and by Shalosh Seudos, there were many simple people who would come, but by the day meal, there were only the Talmidim were there. By the lunch meal of Shabbos, only the closest Talmidim of Ba'al Shem Tov would eat with him. And no one else was able to come, not even to see from far. And so what happened? The people who were simple people, they went to Shul and they said Tehillim. And they said Chumash. They said whatever they knew, but they said the simple stuff that they knew. And they couldn't really go deep into Torah. Now, while the Ba'al Shem Tov was at this meal, he was saying very deep things of Torah because his Talmidim were able to understand it. And they were really enjoying these Talmidim. Now, at that point, some of the Talmidim were thinking, why does the Ba'al Shem Tov love these simple people? Why does he bring them so close? They were thinking that. And Ba'al Shem Tov, heard their machshavas, so to speak. He heard their thoughts. And all of a sudden, his face changed. And he stopped what he was saying, and he started to say, in a place where Baalei Tshuva are, even tzaddikim gemurim, even complete tzaddikim can't stand. He said there are two ways of serving God. One is the way of serving God of the tzaddikim, of the holy people, or rather the tzaddikim, the righteous people. And the second way of serving God is the avodah of Baalei Tshuva, of people who do tshuva. And the avodah of the simple people is on the same level of the avodah of Baalei Tshuva. Why? Because the simple people they're very humble, because they know that they don't know a lot, they know that they're limited, and therefore when they serve God, they serve Hashem with the utmost sincerity and very humbly. Not like somebody someone who's, let's say, very learned or knows a lot of Torah and serves Hashem at a very high level. He might not have that level of humility because he knows his own greatness. Now, when the Ba'al Shem Tov finished his words, they started to say songs and nigunim. And the Talmidim that were thinking about the Ba'al Shem Tov, thinking these things about the Ba'al Shem Tov, why did he do it? They realized the Ba'al Shem Tov was answering them. Now, when they finished singing, Ba'al Shem Tov opened his eyes, and he said that they should close their eyes, and they should sing. He said they should sing another song, and that everyone should close their eyes. And while the Talmidim were singing and closing their eyes, they all of a sudden started to hear voices, very pleasant, beautiful, singing voices. And there was mixed with also voices of supplication, like asking Hashem, begging and things that really move the soul. So what happened? And they heard, every single voice was saying a different part of Tehillim, asking Hashem for, a different thing. And when all these Talmidim heard the voices of the Tehillim and how these voices were pouring their hearts out, they started to shake. And even though their eyes were closed, the tears started to fall down from their eyes by themselves. And their hearts were broken from these really sincere voices. And every single one of these Talmidim davened in their heart that Hashem should help them, that they should merit to serve Hashem on this level. Wow. And the Magid, who was also there, who was the successor of the Ba'al Shem Tov, he told the Alter Rebbe, he told the Baal HaTanya that at that moment he had such a klesa nefesh and such a yearning that he never ever had ever before and never after. Only in that moment when he heard these voices of Tehillim. So much so that even the shoes that he was wearing were wet with sweat and tears that he had from the tshuva that he was feeling, from really, really deep tshuva. And when they stopped singing, the Ba'al Shem Tov was for a little while in a certain dveikus. He was he was concentrating very deeply. And then afterwards he opened his eyes and he said, the song and the voices that you were hearing, that is the singing and the sounds of the simple people who are saying Tehillim with sincerity, from the depths of their heart, and with simple emunah, with simple faith. Anyway, so that's the end of that story. Rabbi Nachman of Breslov also says that Hashem is actually going to win the war. I guess that means that the war, for when Mashiach comes, with the most simple people, not with the people who are know all the chachmas and everything. And he gave a mashal of it. So what's the mashal? There was a king who once went to hunt, and he went to hunt in regular clothes, right? So, and all of a sudden there was a big downpour out of nowhere, and all of the people who were close to the king, they all ran away to find a place of cover. They went to find cover, and the king was left alone. And he got all wet, and he started to wander to find a place, and he got lost. And he sees a house of a villager. He goes into the house, and the villager, seeing him, he takes off his clothes and gives him new ones, puts them next to the fire, brings him back. He was mamish, already sick and losing his energy, and he brought him back. Now, finally, the servants of the king, the important ministers, they came to look for the king, and they found him by this guy, this simple guy, and they wanted the king to come with him. They wanted the king to come back with them. So the king said, you guys didn't save me when I was in distress. Only this guy gave everything he could and put all his efforts to save me, and he brought me back to life. So therefore, he's the one who deserves to bring me back. He's going to bring me back to the palace with his own wagon and with his simple clothing. And he will bring me back onto my throne. And he's going to put the crown on my head. And so that's what's the nimshal? What is this parable, this mashal coming to say? That this is what Rabbi Nachman of Breslov is saying, that in time when it's close to when Mashiach will come, there will be a great mabul, meaning a great upheaval. Right, there's going to be a lot of confusion, not of water. It's not going to be a flood of water, but of apikursus, of people who are going to, heresy, who are going to reject the Eibishter. And it's going to go even into the hearts of the people who are kosher, who are good people. Right? Just like in the Mashal, where even the ministers, they ran to find cover. They were, and with all their chachmas, with all their wisdom, they won't be able to get past it. Only the Yidden who are very simple, who have pure faith, and those who say Tehillim, they will be able to be strong against apikursus, because they're not dealing with intellect. They're dealing with simple emunah, which is the etzem of the person, which is the etzem of a Yid, and you can't, no amount of intellect can penetrate that, because it's coming from a deeper place. And therefore, when Mashiach will come, they'll be the ones that place the crown on Hashem's head. In other words, they will be the ones to hold strong until the coming of Mashiach. Anyways, we should reach the ultimate Geula. We should go out of all our mitzarim and shouldn't have to look back ever again. Thank you, everybody, for joining. And until next week, an amazing week and an amazing year.
I am an ancient wall of stone.
Okay, here goes. We're about to do push-ups today.
Here's a fun tip for Sphira that goes in line with the pray hard, play hard ideology. In order so you don't forget to do Sphira, you can do as many push-ups as the number that you count that night. You can do pull-ups too, or any other kind of rep. You can even run as many miles if you so dare. You're welcome.